everyone, a very good afternoon. Welcome you all to the 13th edition of Chennai Storytelling Festival 2025, and this is our third weekend of performing storytelling. So, stories have a magical way of transporting us to different times, places and emotions. Each teller today has chosen a tale close to their heart. And we invite you all to listen, reflect, and immerse yourself in their words. After each story, we are going to ask them few questions that can be from either my side or from Eric or from the audience as well. So let's begin our storytelling journey. Our first storyteller of the day is Indira Ananthakrishnan from Chennai. Her name reflects divine grace. Indira means beauty and prosperity, often associated with goddess Lakshmi. Her story, The Divine Plan, is a folk tale that reminds us how destiny unfolds in mysterious way. As the proverb goes, destiny unfolds in the way we least expect. So let's listen to Indira as she takes us on this journey. To you, Indira ma'am.
Thank you very much, Sheettal. Eric usually asks us to introduce ourselves.
Sure.
So, by way of introduction, I have nothing much to say, I must confess. I tell stories because I like to do so. To be frank, the very first story that I said was to myself. And later on, I started writing stories for children. And through these stories, I started interacting with children. I started telling them stories. And it was such fun for me as well as for the children. I still tell stories to children. Sometime later, to my surprise, I realized that even grown-ups began to appreciate my telling. So I started telling stories to grown-ups. That was very satisfying. Next, very recently, I told stories to senior citizens and to super seniors who used to come with walkers and wheelchairs. And how they participated with me in the storytelling. So storytelling is something which goes for all age groups, and I do so. I tell stories to children as well as to senior, but I'm not a professional storyteller. I don't go around making appointments. Monday I tell a story here, Tuesday there. No. Whenever I get a chance, whenever I feel happy with the group, my audience, then I tell stories. But I keep telling stories. I don't say no. And I am an established author of children's books. So that much for introduction. I don't have a website. I'm not a professional storyteller, but I'm very happy with on what I'm doing in the field of storytelling. Because the audience is there and I am there and we like each other and we go on. So that much about myself. Now, to come to the story. Well, the time is 10 past 2. As I said, it's not a very exciting time to tell stories, or more so for listening. We like to just go off to our 40 wings. But no, today we'll all together make this half an hour exciting, right? Okay? All right. So, to begin with, before I start the story, I want to pose one or two questions to ourselves, and then the story develops with that. Now, all of us make plans, yes? Yes, we all make plans. We make plans for the day, for the morning, we make plans for the evening, then for the next day, for the week, for the month, for the year, for years to come. We keep making plans. That is human nature. That's a universal law, sort of, that human beings keep keeps making plans, right from children to adults. Now, these plans, they sometimes they work out very well, and we are very satisfied and happy. Yes, yes. Sometimes they work out partially. Then also we are partially satisfied and we say, chalo, doesn't matter. Next time we'll plan better, then everything will work out well. Okay. Now the third type is when the plans don't work out well. They don't work out at all. And we go into sort of depression. Suppose, say, we have to catch a flight and we miss the flight, or the flight is delayed, then the connecting flight we don't get, then the whole vacation gets spoiled. Gone the plan. Now, why does this happen? Plans work out well, they work out partially, or they don't work out at all. Is there some other force or power guiding us to make these plans and make them work or don't work? This is something which all of us should think about. And this little story, in its own folk tale-ish style, drives home the point to us. It's not only a folk tale, it's a part of mythology also, you can say, but it's based in a town called Mathura. Now, before starting the story, shall we all go to Mathura? From Chennai, we can take a flight and go to Mathura. We'll board the plane, fly the plane, and we are at Mathura. Unless we go to the place where the story is taking place, you can't sit where you are and imagine. There's an adage which says, wherever you go, there you are. So we are all going to Mathura, and there we will be till we go through the story. So now we are at Mathura. Can you hear the river? Can you hear the shala of the river flowing? Yes. Yes, we can imagine the river flowing. Even if you can't hear it now, there's no river here. But you are at Mathura, so the river is flowing. It is the holy river, Jamna, which is flowing. And Mathura is on the banks of the river, Jamna. Not the Jamna today, all polluted and all. We are talking about a different era where it is a beautiful river. So the city is pretty close to the capital city of Delhi. And this is famous because God in his incarnation, Avatara, as Krishna, was born here and he spent his childhood days here. And there are many, many stories about his childhood days, but we are not going into all that. After getting into Mathura, we are going straight to a Krishna temple, where the whole story is going to take place. A little temple, beautiful temple, very small, clean, with the surroundings of a garden of flowers called Nandavanam, from where flowers come for puja in the temple. And there's a small idol of Krishna, young Krishna with a flute in his hand, and he is not in a sitting posture or a standing posture, or even he is not standing at ease. He is standing with one leg crossed over to the other, and his body is slightly bent. So, and a flute in his hand. It's a beautiful image of Krishna. I mean, you look at the image, idol, you'll fall in love with it. And it is made of Panchaloka. Panchaloka is gold, silver, copper, zinc, and iron, I think. It has a nice sheen. It's rather darkish in color and it has a good sheen. A beautiful image, and the surroundings are clean, I told you. The cleanliness of the temple is because of our protagonist called Raja. Raja is the cleaner of the, he is the keeper who cleans the temple well. So morning till evening, he is cleaning. Devotees come and go, and when somebody comes, they bring offerings, they drop something here, or some dirt is there always, so he cleans it and keeps the surroundings clean. He is cleaner Raja, attached to that temple. For years he's been working there from morning till night. So at this temple, while Raja keeps working, one day a flash thought in his mind. Now, my Lord Krishna, he was also a great devotee of the Lord. My Lord Krishna, he's standing in this posture, a rakish angle, and with a flute always held in his hand. And he's not even, balanced and all that. 24/7 he's standing like that. Doesn't he need some rest? So he kept thinking about it, and one day he couldn't stand it anymore. He asked his Lord, My Lord, don't you need some rest? Krishna just smiled. Krishna is supposed to have a bewitching smile called Mandahasam. So just that smile, he didn't say anything. But Raja was adamant. He kept on asking him every day. He kept asking him, Please, my lord, I will take your place. You can go to my home and take some rest just for a day. You go and I have a soft pillow for you. You can lie down and take some rest. So the Lord always likes to obey a true devotee. Not obey is not the word. He would like to listen to what the devotee says. So with all the pleadings of Raja, finally he consulted. He said, okay, I'll go and take rest. You stand in my place, put you in my place. The divine, how the divinity works. So Raja got into the idol. So the idol is there. Devotees coming to the temple won't know any difference. But behind it, inside or whatever you can say, it's Raja, and Krishna has gone to sleep. Morning. So the whole day Krishna is going to sleep, and whole day Raja is in charge of the temple. Devotees will come and go. But, said Krishna, one thing you must remember, you are not to react. Whatever the devotees ask, they may ask for all sorts of fulfillments of their wants, and some may bargain, some may barter, but you are not to react to anything. Just keep quiet and stand there. Raja said, fine, that's no big deal, I can do it. Okay. So Krishna went off to sleep, and there is Raja. Devotees come and go. Somebody asks for, oh my Lord, please let my daughter get married, or oh my God, let me have a promotion in my work. I'll give you this 108 coconuts, or this or that, barter. So Raja used to get wild with this. What type of bartering system is this? Or he used to get really sad when he saw old ladies coming and saying, pleading for their health. Oh Lord, please keep me a little healthier than what I am. I've become so dependent on my children, which is not nice for them or for me. Or somebody who's very poor saying, oh God, can't I feed my children a little better? So he used to feel sad for these devotees, but there was nothing he could do. He just kept quiet. Okay, the whole day was over. Evening time, Aarti. Aarti is a special ritual of the evening, after which everything settles down in the temple. Beautiful lights burning and singing and temple bells ringing. So you can imagine that beautiful atmosphere. Aarti is over. In a few minutes more, the temple will close. Just then, a rich man walks into the temple. The rush of devotees is over. Now this man also, he is a regular devotee, but that day he got a little late, so he just walked in. His richness can be seen in his stature, in his dress, the silk kurta and the veshti or dhoti with all zari border and rings on all his fingers and diamond ear tops. You could size his richness. So there he walks in, he goes round in a parikrama, comes and closes his eyes. He doesn't say anything, he just stands there, closes. Then Raja thinks, oh my God, he's such a rich man, it seems, but he's not brought any offerings. All these poor people, they bring flowers or fruits or something. And now he's come empty handed. What is this? But what did that rich man do? He turned round to the charity box called the Hundial. He opened his wallet, took out 1,000 rupee notes, and stuffed them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Raja is counting the number of 1,000 rupee notes going into the Hundial. Ah, he's really rich, and this is his offering. And he's finished putting all his money into the thing. His Angavastram. You know what an Angavastram is? It's something like this with a zari border. What I have is a very small zari border, but what he had with a lot of zari. And zari means this is actually silver, but with gold coated, you might say. So it looks golden, but it's pure silver. So this Angavastram is worn like this on top of the kurta, just for, it's a kind of a, for him it was like showing off his richness, but it's not really that. For religious purposes also they wear this Angavastram. So this Angavastram began to slip down. So he bent down, picked up his Angavastram, and it's just not thrown over his shoulder. It has that pleated. So he pleats it up nicely and puts it on, and he turns and leaves. What about his wallet? It's lying there. He has forgotten about his wallet. He was so keen on getting his Angavastram straight, he forgot his wallet and he walks out. Just as he's walking out, a very poor man comes into the temple. He falls at the feet of the Lord and he weeps. He says, oh Lord, every day you may give me some. He was a daily wage earner. You were sure to give me some earnings, and by the end of the day I had some few rupees in my hand which I could go and buy something for my children and go home. Today I don't have a pie. I have not earned anything. Now how will I go home and face my hungry children? Oh Lord, you've never ever done this to me before. Why today? Why? Then he wakes up and he says, no, I'll have full faith in you. You will help me. I know by the time I reach home, I'm sure I'll get something from you. And he breathes a sigh of faith and he turns to leave and he looks at the wallet. He was so happy. He turns around again, he prostrates himself and he said, oh Lord, I knew you would help me. You have left this for me. Oh, he was so grateful to Krishna. He picks up the wallet. He really believed that Krishna had put that wallet for him there. He picks it up and he leaves the temple very happy. Now the pujari has come with his bunch of keys. He's going to close this window, that back door and the front door, and he's going to lock it up and go. Just then, a third devotee comes rushing in. He's a sailor. You can make out from his dress, he's a sailor. He tells the pujari, please, 1 minute. Let me just pray to the Lord and go. And I just have to take my ship And just now I heard that there's going to be a storm in the sea and my ship may capsize. So I have to pray to the Lord to help my ship from capsizing. So he goes and prays and he said, "Oh Lord, I have my children at home. They will be expecting me back in a week's time. If I don't come, if my boat capsizes and I am drowned in the sea, what will happen to my family? God, please, please let my ship not capsize." Just as he closed his eyes, prayed, and opened his eyes, there comes the Angavastram man with his Angavastram, and he walks in looking for his wallet. It's not anywhere, but he looks at the sailor and he says, "Ah, you have taken my wallet." "Yes, you have. There's no one else." The sailor says, "I know nothing about you or your wallet. Please let me go. I have a ship to catch. Please. The ship will leave without me. I have to go." But the rich man was not to leave him. He held him and he said, "You liar, you have the wallet and still you are..." All thieves say this. No thief admits that he has taken whatever. So he held on to him and he said, "Come, I'm going to take you to the police station." The sailor begged. He said, "No, I have to take my ship." No, the Angavastram wouldn't let him go. Just then, from the sanctum sanctorum, a voice told, and the whole temple reverberated with that voice, which told, "He is innocent." That's all, 3 words. Who said it? We all know, Raja. He said that. And the rich man, he was stunned. He just stood there. His angvastram began to fall. He did not notice it. His hands just opened, his fingers opened, his grip was loose, and the sailor was free to go, and the sailor ran away. And this angavastram, he straightened his angavastram after he got out of his stupor, and he looked around. He didn't know what was happening. He told the pujari, "Please close the temple. I don't know, there's some evil spirit or something around. Please." And then he, rich man also walks out. And when he walks out and he is going on his way home, he bumps into the poor man. That poor man is going on with the wallet in his hand. He is opening in the wallet and seeing how much money there is and what he can buy for his children. And this rich man comes there. He sees the wallet in this man's hand and he said, "You rascal, you are the thief. And I caught that poor sailor. Now come on." And he was not bothered about police station and all anymore. He gets his wallet, so he grabs the wallet from the poor man and he goes away. The pujari has locked the temple. The day is done. Now Krishna comes. He's had his full day's rest. He comes inside the sanctum sanctorum, brings Radha to the eye. Very well. Oh, Krishna knows. So he was waiting for Raja to admit. So he just kept quiet with his mandahasam. And then Raja couldn't help blurting it out. He said, but Krishna, my Lord, one thing. I just said at the end, he is innocent. I couldn't bear to see that poor sailor being taken to the police station. I was seeing, he had nothing to do with the wallet. So I was an eyewitness. So I said, he is innocent. Krishna said. Now that mandahasam became less and less, and Krishna became a little serious, and he said, Raja, you've not done the right thing. Raja was perplexed. What? Why? How? What happened? I don't understand. What wrong did I do? Please tell me. Krishna said, okay, let me tell you. That rich man is my devotee. He has only 24 hours more to live. And I was going through his karmic account. He has done a lot of charity, but that charity falls a little short of his eligibility to reach heaven. Just a little bit more. So I planned it in such a way that he leaves the wallet and the poor man takes it, so that amount, whatever he has put in the wallet, that goes into his karmic account, and that will just give him the eligibility to reach heaven. So you have spoiled the case for the rich man, my devotee. Next, the poor man. I wanted to help him with something so that he can buy something for his family. That also you have spoiled. The rich man has grabbed the wallet from him and left. What about the sailor whom I tried to save? The Raja couldn't talk anything more. He said, Krishna said, I'm coming to that. That sailor, if the rich man had taken him to the police station, at least his life would have been saved. And police, whenever they release him, he goes back home. But now his ship is capsizing and he is drowning in the sea. His life is gone. Raja was stupefied. He was thunderstruck. He froze in his place. And for how many minutes he stood in that frozen position, I leave it to the listeners to imagine. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or he swooned and fell down. That ending you can imagine in whatever way you want. But the essence of the story comes in the planning. What we plan, what divinity plans for us. If divine plan and our plans coincide or are in tandem or something like that, then our plans are fully satisfied and we have a wonderful vacation or whatever. Partially or completely gone means divine plan has something in mind and we try to make our own plan and everything goes haywire. So that's a beautiful lesson for us to make our plans, but we should always remember there is a divine plan by which only things will work. So we make our plans and then we pray for divine plan to work along with ours so that our plan succeeds. So this is a folk tale that has been in Mathura for many years. I don't know if today in Mathura there will be people living there would know the story, but it was there. It's about more than 10 years since I visited Mathura, so I don't know if they have it now. But it's a very ancient folk tale which has come down to us from those people who have lived in Mathura through. Folk tales are always from word to mouth, and it has come down. I don't know if it's ever in writing, but it has come down from and I've also heard it through a Krishna devotee, through the voice of a Krishna devotee. So with that, I come to the end of my tale. Namaste.
That was a very wonderful story, Indiraji, and we literally traveled to Mathura to hear this folk tale.
Oh, sorry, I didn't bring you all back to Chennai.
We are still in Mathura. You need to bring us back.
Let's have a dip in the Jamuna before we come back.
Yes, absolutely. So, yes, tell me, why did you select this story today? What made you select this story?
People may have their doubts about it, saying, "Oh, I mean," but all folk tales have to be taken with a pinch of salt or whatever you can say. I mean, 100% it won't relate. You can't relate it with our today's living, but folk tales are all like that only.
Very good. Superb, superb. Any
Thank you,
questions
thank
from
you.
the audience? Yes, yes, Vijay Lakshmi ma'am. Please.
Hello, hello
Hi.
everybody. Good afternoon, and it's wonderful. Indira and I go back a long time. I
Yeah,
used
I
to do
know.
storytelling in Delhi to the children of laborers, and Indira, that was so beautiful and so profound. It, folk tales always have some takeaways in it because as they passing down orally, there's always some addition and subtraction, but it always has some uh, something which uh, makes you think about these stories, from where it came, how it came. But it has definitely something beautiful that will keep mulling in your mind, and you'll be wondering, because whatever you say, that you plan something, and when things don't go the way you plan, we always say everything happens for the best. We try to
That
look at it
very
positively.
few of us say that.
We try to look at it positive. Maybe it is for the best, that thing, though we feel disappointed at some time, but we think mostly, keep saying, okay, maybe it was for something better, something you, like you said, na, that sailor would have, his life would have been saved if he went into the prison. But like that, sometimes when you don't do something, something better happens probably. So this is the beauty of folk tales. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Indira. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
But tell me, do you think this story would suit children? I've not told it to children. I've told it to adults and to seniors and to super senior. My sister-in-law, who's 96, enjoyed the tale.
Yeah.
But I don't know if children
Children
will
will
be
like
able
it,
to.
not the very little ones, but you can say about the 10 plus. Maybe you
Yeah,
have to tweak it a little.
teenagers,
Yeah, you will
teenagers.
have to tweak it a little because
Yeah,
they will understand this. They will enjoy it.
that's right.
Yeah, we can bring it down to levels, like
Yeah,
you've done it
that
with,
happens.
yeah.
According to
Most
the age
stories can be
level.
brought down to the age group you're
Mm,
addressing,
mm.
and that it works sometimes. Yeah,
Not only storytellers, speakers, and musicians, they all talk to the audience.
correct.
Snip their performance according to the audience. So
Exactly,
that is
exactly.
true.
Yeah.
Since I keep telling stories to various age groups, I
Yes.
know the snipping and all has to be
Yeah, yeah.
done.
I do the same. I do the same to little ones,
Mm.
middle-aged, teenagers, senior citizens,
I
young
hope,
adults.
how many of us, we are 19 of us here. I hope others listen to the recordings and then give me some feedback about the stories.
Sure, sure, ma'am. Yes. So, shall we move on to the next teller of the day today? Okay. Thank you so much, Indira ma'am, for this
And thank you
wonderful
very
story.
much, Sheila, for encouraging me.
Yes. So, our
Sheetal, not Sheila.
Sheetal, I'm Sheetal, yeah. That's fine. Our next storyteller, Sharada Sampathkumar. She's from Bangalore. She carries the essence of wisdom in her name, Sharda, another name of goddess Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. She brings to us a deeply reflective tale, The Forgotten Lotus, a story of resilience, growth, and rediscovery. It's her own story. There's a very old saying, Shada, even in the mud, the lotus finds a way to bloom. So now let's hear how this beautiful metaphor unfolds in Sharda's storytelling. Over to you, Sharda.
Thank you so much. What a lovely audience. And that start by ma'am was so lovely. The first story. Such a lovely story. Yes. So, it was a beautiful afternoon, and there was a slight drizzle. The weather had suddenly changed, and there was a slight drizzle. Rama was making her usual cup of afternoon tea. She quickly made her tea, looked out at the window, and that gave her a spark of joy. You know why? Because it was raining. So she quickly went with her cup of tea, sat on the cushion that was lying on the bay window of her beautiful living room. She kept staring into the rain while she was sipping her tea. Just like how the million raindrops were raining on earth, a million thoughts were continuously raining on her mental universe. So she kept sipping her tea parallelly while her thoughts and mind were busy working. She had no expressions on her face, and in a short while she realized that her teacup was empty. So she returned back to her kitchen and soaked her teacup into that warm, soapy water, which she always does for her vessels, so that she would find it easy to wash later on. Now, she had planned something for the day. Today, she wanted to declutter her attic. That was a long pending task that she had always wanted to do. And today, somehow, she felt that she had to take up that work. So she climbed up the attic, and as soon as she landed in her attic, she could feel that musty old smell of old papers and the little things that lied on around the attic gave her a little smile on her face. Her old Veena that she had not touched for many years, the old harmonium box that her party had given to her, the old brass and bronze vessels, the Vengalapanai, the Iyachumbu, all that were lying on the attic that belonged to her mother-in-law. And as she took a look around once more, her attention fell upon a battered old suitcase. And again, she glanced on that suitcase. You know why? Because that was the suitcase that she had brought along with her when she had entered this household, when she had got married around 25 years ago. And as she again looked at that old suitcase, this song started on the Rainbow FM.
मुस्कुरा रहे हो, तुम इतना जो मुस्कुरा रहे हो, क्या गम है जिसको छुपा रहे हो.
So that was the song which played on the radio, and that brought a smile on her face. Rama had been the backbone, the silent backbone of her beautiful family. She had her in-laws, her sister-in-laws, her mother-in-law, father-in-law, her husband, and 2 children, Arjun and Meera. Her husband was Anand. And many years had passed, and her sister-in-law had gotten married, and she had left the house. And recently, her mother-in-law and father-in-law were no more. So now it was just Rama, her husband Anand, and her 2 teenaged children, Arjun and Meera. So somehow all these years had flown very fast, but Rama always felt a sense of emptiness in her life. Her husband Anand was a man of rigid rules. He was a man who spoke very little, and whenever he spoke, it was only something to complain about. He would wake up, enter the kitchen, and when she served him his coffee, he would say that either the coffee was too sweet or the decoction was very watery. He often complained to her about how better she can keep the house organized, how she can organize her things better, or how she can teach the children how to declutter their things. He was a man of perfection, and he expected the same from everybody in his household. So Rama didn't have much to speak with him. They never had conversations. It was very, very rare that both of them were in a good mood, and it happened only when there was a guest at home. You know why, right? Because whenever a guest comes, it is always the rule that you should project yourself as a very cordial person, amicable person, right, in front of the guest. So only at those moments, Rama and Anand shared pleasant words. Otherwise, Anand was a perfectionist who expected too much from Rama, while Rama was a very, very creative person. So this often landed them into arguments. So Rama thought that it was better that she did her daily chores silently and answered only when it was required. Arjun and Meera, their children, were totally absorbed in their digital worlds, and they hardly spoke as a family. It was only when Arjun wanted to search for something, like, Amma, where is my shirt? Or Meera asked her mother, Amma, why are you touching my things on my table? So, Rama always felt invisible, like a shadow in her own household. So, as she looked at the battered suitcase, she went near it and squatted, sat down comfortably, opened the suitcase. And as soon as she opened the suitcase, a spark of joy ignited inside her. She saw that there were scores of drawings, notebooks, everything that contained beautiful paintings of flowers, lotuses, vibrantly colored lotuses, landscapes, which reminded Rama of her youthful days. So, as a student, in her student days, Rama was actually a very creative person. She loved drawings and paintings, and she had learnt how to paint and draw, and she was not a big, but an artist. Okay, you can't consider her to be a very great artist. She was an artist. So Rama touched the paintings, and that gave her a spark of joy, and she was thrilled, and she felt really nostalgic to see those beautiful, vibrant flowers, lotuses she had drawn on the watery landscapes, etc. So that night, she was determined, and she made up her mind about what she wanted to do. So the next morning, when she was serving breakfast to her family, she fumbled a little, and she announced that I want to restart my hobby as an artist. I want to start painting. And as soon as she said this, the whole breakfast table was silent. And Anand chuckled looking at her with a piece of dangling dosa from his mouth. He looked at her and said, "You hardly have time to organize the house and keep the house clean. You have so much of chores to do, and still you are not able to complete all of them. And how do you think you will be able to fit in painting into your daily life?" And her children, Meera, told her, mindlessly, as she was scrolling through her reels on Instagram mindlessly, she looking at her phone, okay, not even looking at Meera, Rama's face, looking at her phone, she was scrolling, and she said, "I don't care what you do as long as you don't paint my room pink." So soon they all left for office and school, and all that Rama had in front of her was a very dirty breakfast table with food and plates strewn around. She carried all this to the sink, put them into the kitchen sink, and she clutched the edge of the kitchen countertop. Tears rolled down her eyes. She had a heavy heart with a lot of unspoken words. But whatever she had planned, she was determined that she should do it. So after doing her morning chores, she quickly dressed up, carried a big bag, and she took her secretly stashed money that she had saved for a rainy day, and she went out shopping. Yes, she shopped for some drawing books, paints, colors, canvases, an easel. She brought them back home, and she made a separate space in a corner of her living room for her to start her art hobby. And she started spending more and more time. She woke up early morning. She sat late into the night. She sacrificed her afternoon nap timings. And whenever she got an opportunity or time, all she did was she sat and painted and painted and painted. Though her initial paintings were made fun of, because mean, she was told that they looked like a toddler's hand painting. She kept practicing until one evening Anand entered the home to find Rama fully covered in various colors of paints, and he laughed at her and said, "What are you doing? You're completely covered in paint." And she was so excited, and she stepped aside and pulled Anand's arm and showed him the painting that she was going to finish. And it was a beautiful blooming lotus with vibrant colors. And looking at the painting, Anand was stunned. "Did you do this?" cried Anand. And she told Anand that, "I have just started." And soon Rama created a social media account and started posting all her paintings. And soon she had a lot of followers. She became popular on social media, and there were a lot of direct messages to her requesting if they could buy her paintings. And slowly she also started selling her paintings. And a little later, art critics started writing about her paintings too. And her profits started increasing. And she became a sensation on Instagram and other social media. And a lot of people called her for exhibitions, art festivals, and they requested her to display her paintings. So she had to involve her family also into this, because it was a big task, isn't it? So Anand, Arjun and Meera started volunteering, helping Rama with the household chores, cooking, buying groceries, and helping her buy and sell her paintings, the payment gateways and all that. Definitely Anand had to help her. So one evening, while sipping their evening coffee, Anand casually put his arm around Rama's shoulder and he said, "Rama, I always thought you to be just my wife. But today I realize that you are much more than that." And the next morning, they had someone at their door, and Anand opened the door, and he was really embarrassed because he was in his mismatched pajamas and shabby costume. An art critic had come to their home, and he wanted to see Rama's paintings. And Anand couldn't believe this. So, slowly and gradually, Rama's spark of joy came back into her heart, and she became a lot happier, which in turn reflected on her work, her activities, her moods around the house. And the whole household was so happy, only because of Rama. So, a woman in every household is the main person, the main root who is responsible for the happiness of the family. And it is so important for all the members of the family to take this into consideration, to think and realize how important the woman of their family should be treated or should be handled. So, have you ever felt invisible like Rama in each of your lives at any point of time? Rama's journey tells us that we can rewrite our stories no matter where or when we begin. The inner turmoil, the self-discovery process, the way she reclaims her identity. I'm sure this must be an important thing in most of we women's lives at some point of time. So that was my story about Rama, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sharda. And this was so much of a touching story. In fact, I saw this movie, Mrs. On Z just 2 days back, and it is so similar. You know, I think each and every woman should watch that movie. Though not really.
What is
Mrs.
the name of the movie?
Mrs. MRS.
Oh, it's a new movie, huh?
A new movie just released this week only. So it's very much like this. So I could relate it so well, like.
Okay.
Because I think at every point, I feel that's in India mainly, that whatever a woman does, at whatever higher level the woman reaches, at home, she is a woman, a homemaker. अगर घर में खाना नहीं बना है, if something is not clean, the woman steps in. You know, there is no man who's going to come and help you out. So I think that is very strong in India from our roots, and I don't know when it's going to change, but it was really a super story told by you. Thank you so much. To the audience, please. Yes, Renu, please, you unmute yourself.
Yeah, may I?
Yes, sir, please.
Story told by ma'am reminds me of J.B. Priestley's Mother's Day. Mother Day is a story which is centered around the status of women, not only in Indian society but all over the world. Women are taken for granted. That has been very beautifully portrayed by J.B. Priestley by creating two characters, Mrs. Pearson and Mrs. Fitzgerald. Pearson is docile and loyal and ready to serve her husband, her children, but they took her for granted. But when although she wants to improve her condition, but she doesn't know how to start with. So, getting an encouragement from Mrs. Fitzgerald, a neighbor of hers, she tries to counsel her, she tries to help her to realize her importance, realize her position, but she is unable to do so. But in the story of J.B. Priestley, magic realization has been used, and they exchange their soul. So their behavior changes, and now Mrs. Pearson behaves like a bold lady. Now she teaches a lesson to each and every member of her family, and now she becomes Nora of like Henry Epsom and that Kamala of Vijay Tendulkar. I mean, she becomes bold and she teaches a lesson to everybody who doesn't respect her. So really, I appreciate the story told by Madam. It touches the experience of every society. Congratulations, Madam. Thank you.
Yes, Renu, to you, please.
Sharada, I love the story. I love the pacing. I love the way you told it. And yes, it is a very common thing that happens in most families. The husband and the children don't appreciate what the wife, what the woman in the house does. And I'm also reading this book called The Liberation of Sita, which is also more or less talks about the same thing, that you're only living for your husband and for your children. You're not doing that. There is a life and a world beyond everything, which is your own, which you need to claim. So I think it's very true for all women. We are not ever taught to love ourselves, to realize that we have something beyond marriage and children, that we have something that we can take forward, not necessarily a career, but some passion that keeps us going. Because everybody, whether you're a man or a woman, needs to have something like a maksad, basically. You need something which you can find passionate about and hang on there for the rest of your life. Because as our children grow up and our husbands leave us perhaps forever, we need to keep something going. We need to keep our brain as well as our physical side working, because as long as your brain is idle and you're not able to move much, it's a slow death. So I think it's very, very important to bring up our little girls and little boys to learn everything. When you don't teach your little boys how to take care of themselves, how to cook, how to clean, you're actually making them dependent. You're actually handicapping them. It's very important to teach all children every aspect of life so that they can become partners in the real sense when they get married. You know, they help each other. Like in my house, I think after a few years, maybe 2, 3 years, my husband was sailing most of the time, but he was used to doing work on his own, cooking on his own, washing his own clothes because he was living far away from home. He was living far away on the ship. Everybody has to be independent. So it was very easy for us as a couple to do things, together. If the maid doesn't come, I sweep, mobs, and then we do the cooking together. He's a wonderful cook. He loves to cook. In fact, most of the time he watches YouTube videos, just cooking recipes, which I don't do. But I think we have fallen together as a beautiful couple. It took years, of course, years of ups and downs, fights, arguments, everything. Marriage is never smooth. But finally, in our 60s, we have realized we've come to a very nice relationship where we're very comfortable with each other. Both of us are following our passions and doing a wonderful job of it. So I think it's very, very necessary, whether you have girls or boys, bring them up to be independent. Enable them rather than disable them. That is what I would say to many young parents. And thank you so much, Sharada, for the beautiful story.
Thank you, Renu. Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Now, as the time is running, we will move on to our next teller of the day. We have Lipika Mohanty from Bhubaneshwar, whose name itself means a script or writing. Cool name as a storyteller, I would say. She has chosen a mythological tale, Brahma, which delves into the origins of creation and the power of thought. A creation begins with a single thought, isn't it? So let's listen to Lipika as she brings this powerful story to life. Over to you, Lipika. You need to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you so much, Sheettal, for that lovely introduction. Hello, everyone, and namaskar. My name is Lipika Mohanty. I'm a storyteller from the temple city, Bhubaneswar, a city to the east coast of India. And about me, I have worked as an educator and a teacher's trainer and a spoken English trainer for over 2 decades. And the last 5 years, I'm into storytelling. And I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Eric Miller for having given me this opportunity to tell stories here today. And this is not the first time he has given opportunities earlier too. My heartfelt gratitude. Well, the story that I'm going to tell is from our Indian mythology. It's the story of Brahma. When the universe was being created, Brahma was entrusted with the task of creating the universe. Prior to that, long before, Narada, Brahma's son, had cursed him for some reason, which is a big story for some other time, that you shall desire that which must not be desired. And that curse hung like an unripe fruit, waiting for the right season to fall. And curses and wounds become parts of the natural law, and they would definitely materialize. And so now the situation is Brahma was busy creating the universe. He started creating the landforms, water bodies, the mountains, and the flora and fauna, and many other things. And then it was the time to create the first woman. She would be the mother of mankind. So he took a lot of effort and he did that. And he named her Brahmi. When Brahmi went to give her respect to Brahma, she looked at him, and she saw there was no love in his eyes, rather, it was lust. And she felt very uncomfortable. She could not bear that gaze of him. So she moved to the left. And as she moved to the left, to Brahma's left, another head popped up from the left side of his head. And that head also started staring at her. And she was very uncomfortable. She thought, why is he looking at me like this? It's my creator. After all, he's my father. But she couldn't say anything. So to avoid that, she moved to the right of Brahma. Lo and behold, another head popped up from the right side of Brahma's head. And that head also started gazing at her. And she was feeling very embarrassed and she didn't know where to go. Then she thought of going back and stand behind him. But pop, another head popped from the backside of Brahma. And that head also looked at her, and there was insatiable lust in that look. She couldn't bear any more. So she sprang up. As she sprung up, another head popped up from Brahma's top. And that head also started looking at her. And she didn't know what to do. She ran hither and thither and she went everywhere. But Brahma, he also chased after Brahmi. So Brahmi thought of changing herself. She transformed herself to a cow. As she did that, Brahma changed himself to a bull. She morphed herself to a peahen and he transformed himself to a peacock. He changed herself to a duck and he changed himself to a drake. In this way, Brahma went on transforming herself to many different forms. And she changed herself from reptiles to mammals to insects to birds, animals of the land, animals of the water, animals of the trees, and animals of the air. But till then, Brahma didn't stop chasing her. In this way, she changed herself to 100 different forms. And she acquired the name of Sattarupa. Satta means 100 and Rupa means the different forms. So in that way, that when the creation of different kinds of animals and birds and other creatures on this earth. And as Brahma was chasing Sattarupa, Shiva could know this. So he soon came and slayed and chopped the head of Brahma. And then Brahma got back to senses. And he realized that he has done something very bad. And he asked for forgiveness. But Shiva said, for this heinous act, you are never going to be forgiven. And all the four faces of yours would be chanting the Vedas, will be reciting the Vedas always. And that was the penance that he has to do for this crime of his. And that is why Brahma is never worshipped in any household in India. Vishnu is worshipped all by himself. Shiva is worshipped all by himself. There are temples of Brahma, that Vishnu and Shiva all across the places, but not of Brahma. Though there is one temple in Pushkar, and that is there for some other reason, and that is also another story. But the Brahma is not worshipped because of this. And then time passed by, and Sattarupa couldn't overcome she went through. But she was entrusted with the task to create the mankind. One day, Manu, her husband, and Sattarupa was sitting. Sattarupa was in a very pensive and very depressed mood. So Manu asked her what was that ailing her. Then Satyarupa said, I fear now to beget the feminine race. If a father would endanger his own daughter, then who is going to give them safety at heart? So she was totally broken. She said, I fear now to give them beauty, for men might disrobe them. I fear now to give them wisdom, for men might degrade them. I fear now to give them choices, for men might disown them. And I fear now to give them power, for men might destroy them. Saying so, she said, I fear, and I fear now. And she moved away from money. That is the end of my story.
Can I go first?
Yes, Veena.
always love to listen to your soft voice, and I was just waiting to hear which story is Lipika going to pick up.
Okay.
Nice. I love those three or four reasons that you said. It really makes us think, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's something new I hadn't heard before.
Yeah, I chose this story because of the transformations that Satyarupa went through. She went through actually two very great transformation. One was external, and the other was her internal thing. External, she was in trauma. Someone is chasing, and she's going on morphing herself to so many different forms, right? And that was really painful. It is even if you think of such a situation, you are scared that you are trying to defend yourself, you are trying to protect yourself, and you are being chased. Another reason is that she was from a normal person to she has turned into a person with what the shattered confidence. Confidence is no more there, right? So she's fearing to beget the feminine race, because it so happens always as a mother of a daughter, I feel that a woman always thinks that the daughter is an expression of herself, the mother always thinks. But, and son is something different. She wants to her wishes, visions, dreams, and everything to be fulfilled through the daughter, right? But now she feels that she cannot bring one of herself to this world. That is so many whys in her mind and the reasons that she has given. So that is why I thought of telling this story, and I know Bina will appreciate who. So, thank you so much, Veena.
Thank you. Thank you, Lipika, for this wonderful story. Yes,
Thank
anyone
you
from
so
the audience would like to ask any question, please?
Yes, always. Like, although I'm attending this session for the first time, but really it's heart touching, and the way ma'am narrated the story. Initially, I was reminded of biblical, detail about creation of the universe. But gradually, as ma'am kept going on narrating the story, really it was such a logical, progression, and each and every element added by ma'am, which if we take this story and compare with other concept of creation of universe, no way it will lag behind. Means definitely one any critic may be bound to believe this. Yes, this could have happened, and it leaves a question to the modern man. Means there is a blend of mythology, tradition, and modern practices going on in the society. Definitely it it gives it inspire us to introspect or ask a question to ourselves. yes, if we want a balance in the society, and if we believe in Indian Constitution and believe in liberty, equality, and fraternity, we have to think like that, because uh, the more terrified the woman or the first half of the generation or creation will be, the more disbalance will be in the society. Definitely very inspirational, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very
Two
much.
things I want to say. Lipika, I loved your story, the pacing, everything was beautiful, your voice. What I really loved about the story is that towards the ending, Satarupa empowers herself by leaving man. So she says there's no way on no end of it. Men have all the power, women have very little power. So unless we take that power into our own hands and decide what we do, what we want to do with our lives, there is no hope. I think I really love that ending.
Thank
By
you.
the end, towards the end, just 1 minute.
Yes.
So towards the end, she is feeling that she's lesser compared to the men, right? So this practice that women are always less, this practice still goes on in the society all across the globe, in form or the other, in some degree and some form or the other, right? In US also, till 1960s, the women were not given the power for fractions, or before that, the date maybe, they say. And I wonder that we had in India the power to franchise all the women. Yes, how could it be? Until they do not have a president who is a woman, right? And that is the greatest liberal nation in the world, right? So that is there always. We will remain like that. It's lesser compared to the from the experts. Still, then we are gradually. I think the gap will go and the discrepancy will be meted out.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lipika. Now let's
Thank
move on to
you.
our storyteller, Veena Seethepalli from Hyderabad. So, some journeys are not just about reaching a destination, they're about the transformation we experience along the way. Veena, whose name symbolizes music and harmony, shares her personal story, Pedaling My Way, Going Places. It's a heartfelt felt tale of determination and movement, both physical and emotional. There's a beautiful saying, Veena, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single pedal. So let's hear you and your inspiring journey. Over to you, Veena.
Thank you, Sheettal, for such a wonderful introduction. You did your homework right. Thank you, Eric, for hosting this wonderful platform. And every year we come back to it with much anticipation and much readiness. And the team that goes behind all this work, thank you again. Heartfelt gratitude to all of you. Welcome my audience, because without an audience, a storyteller is nothing. So here I am. My name is Veena Seethepalli. Yes, I live in Hyderabad, central India. I chose this story because I'm on a sort of a mission to pen down a few of my personal experiences now that the hair is a little more silver, and at times I am more homebound than telling stories. I have retired as a preschool, primary school teacher, and I still go to the government school and other NGOs so that I can share my skills and, of course, storytelling. So here goes my story. Pedaling my way. Cycling doesn't add days to my life. Cycling adds life to my days. I really look forward to cycling every week, just a few days a week. And come Sunday, definitely, because the traffic is less. As the morning orange glow of the sun rises in the eastern sky, I stretch myself. Yeah, it's Sunday. No, it's Sunday. You need to cycle. I quickly change into my tracksuit and my t-shirt, and I get out my beauty. She is a beauty because she's lime green, a neon lime green, with beautiful black tires and the black spokes that stand out in contrast. Yes, I'm talking about my bicycle. I will share a few photos later on. I check the tire pressures. I clamp my water bottle to her side. I get out my helmet and give it a click, and I'm ready to go. It's 6 a.m. Not much traffic, not many walkers, not many joggers, just ideal for this silver-haired lady to go cycling on the road. Ah, the melody of those birds as they chirp. Now, instead of listening to this, do you think I would go to the gym? Never. I'm not that gym person. I'm a very nature person. I need to be out on the road. And there I cycle. I go past the cantonment area. The sentry gives me a quick click of his heels and a bright salute. Ah, I muse to myself. What an honor I get. I'm not an army officer's wife, but well, I'm cycling in that area. So why not? And I cycle along. Cycling really takes you to places because otherwise I don't think I can walk for 3-4 kilometers. My knees would give way. So it's an easy way to get to the places around the area and see them. In fact, when I cycle around lazily in the colony, the children come out sometimes. Cycling auntie is here, let's cycle with her. What's this cycling auntie? Even the dhobi, the istri man, calls me cycling auntie. Come on. I think I'm one of those rare sights in this part of the city at least. When you cycle overseas, there are many more cyclists, and not even that, even in Pune, in Nashik, in many other cities, you find many more ladies cycling. That's it. Just keep cycling. You add life to your days, I muse. Freedom, and I cycle on. How did this all begin? Let's go back to my childhood days. As a girl of 8 or 10 years old, every Sunday morning with a group of other children from the colony, we used to run to that nearby cycle shop and stand waiting. That old owner would creak the shutter open. He would go and dust the rickety cycles and put them out on the street. Hey, that one's mine. The blue one, not the red one. That seat is not correct. It needs to be raised. But I rode that cycle the last week and it doesn't have good brake. You know, the laughter, the fun, the chit-chat amongst all of us. Just enjoyable. Cycling was fun. And of course, as we cycled along the Mumbai seaside, that soft breeze caressing our cheeks, the black hair tossing in that breeze. Hey, Rohit, don't cycle so far. Anita, stop coming so near me. We would scream and shout, and all along, childhood fun was the best way that we could cycle on. Till there was a crash, a tumble, a fall. Well, what do you do when you fall? You get bruised. You learn to rise. You learn to get up and get on that cycle again because you have paid only for 1 hour. Come on, cycle. And there you go, cycling along with all the other children. Move on to my college years. I often walked to college, a good 20-minute walk. But one day, at the neighbor's house, I saw an adult cycle. Black. I think it was very dusty. Hesitatingly, I knocked the door. Kaka, can I ride your cycle for just one day? He looked sternly at me and said, What for? Kai? Why? Kaka, I can go to the college faster. He thought to himself, well, why not? Take it tomorrow. Fill the air. Clean it. I mused to myself, why not? A dusty cycle, at least you learn to do some maintenance. Take out your pocket money, get the tire pressures filled, clean the air, clean the cycle, fill the air, pump, learn how to maintain a cycle. Well, it's okay, I said to myself. Freedom! And I cycled along the road, straight to college. Look left, look right, look straight, look left, look right. You learn to scan the road as fast as you can. And in a minute, I banged into a cartload of tomatoes. There was tomatoes everywhere, red, orange sauce on the floor, and even my shirt. How did that happen? Where did he come from? I was thinking to myself. Till I heard those voices of the vendor and people around laughing. Hey, ladki, kya cycle chalati hai? Hey, what are you doing cycling? Come on, pick up some tomatoes. I had no money in my pocket. I was just going to college. I meekly picked up a few tomatoes and rushed away from that sight. A big lesson learned. Move on to my marriage. We were in Singapore at that time. I was over 40 years. Children, husband, housework. Wait, did I tell you? One day my husband bought a big cardboard box. What is it? And the children gathered around. Open it, tear it, mummy, tear it. My husband said, let's fix it. Fix what? But as we tore open that cardboard, beauty she was. Lime green beauty. Black spokes, black cycle tires. We fixed her. Let's go, mummy, let's go, prodded my children. And from then on, many days of the week, we would all go cycling together as a family on the East Coast Parkway of Singapore. Beautiful palm trees, the grassy areas, little children picnicking around, and on the other side you could see the sea breeze, the ship sailing across, and me on my cycle track. Well, there was a separate track for walking, so hopefully there were no accidents. No, I don't think there were. Till, you suddenly see some children just rushing and crossing the road. Oh, but it was fun. Freedom, freedom from the house chores, freedom from the homework of children, freedom, I'm on my own cycling away. Wow. This grey-black hair tossed in the breeze. It caressed my cheeks, and as the children grew up, they left for university. I had more time on hand. I would cycle much more often. I even took out some picnics sometimes. A bottle of water, some orange, maybe a sandwich, maybe a book, and sit down under the trees. Cycling became fun. Hey, mummy, stop eating that mithai and laddus, okay? You know, the Indian women, we always prepare all the sweets. You need to eat more protein, my daughters would say. The other one would say, you need to do some more lunges. Have you done any aerobics today? How many sit-ups did you do? So there was a constant round of advice from my daughters. In fact, my younger daughter still cycles to office. She's in Australia, and she's a great motivator. Not that I hear all the time, you know how we are. But it does help. if you do your aerobics, cycling, your heart rate goes up. Cycling was not just fun now at mid 40s and mid 50s. It was just not a way of life. It was exercise, fun exercise. You need to maintain your body. You need to keep that balance. Oh, and just recently, last year, mid 60s, did I tell you? I tripped against a stone and crashed onto the floor. My helmet was thrown on the other side of the road. My wrist twisted. I was crying in pain. Somebody lifted me up, put me in an auto, took me to the hospital. All that I could think of is, will I be able to cycle again? After some rounds of bandage, sling, arm in the sling, rehab sessions, exercise with the physio, I mustered up courage. And one day, I cleaned my cycle. I patted her and said, come on, let's go for a ride. And I went around the colony. Hey, cycling auntie is back! Tring, 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 tring! Cycling auntie is back! Shouted some of the children. I was thrilled. Why not? We need to grow. We need to learn from our falls. And there I was. I still cycle. Mind you, it's not so fast. It's not too far. But I still go pedaling to places. Hey, wait a minute. I haven't finished. Because now I'm a storyteller. And you know what? I'm a Kamishibai storyteller. So I tried my luck one day, put the cycle in the car park, put my butai, the Kamishibai box, and told stories from there. Maybe for you, a Kamishibai story with my cycle on another day. Till then, keep pedaling. Thank you.
That was a wonderful story, Veena. And I so very much relate because even I cycle. So yes, tell me, why did you want to tell this story today? What made you tell this story?
I have started penning my experiences thanks to many of my storyteller friends who nudge me, right, Veena, right. Okay, who's going to listen? Well, thank you, audience, for listening. And I think it teaches you a lot of things, to be aware on the road, just like you drive. But when you cycle, you're just there all by yourself and you're open. There's no protection around you. So you are even more, you have to be even more aware. You need to have balance and all those kind of skills, life skills.
Yes, Priyanka, to you, please.
Yeah, it's such a lovely personal tale, Vinna, and I totally resonate with you because I also cycle and I also
Yay!
take I have this Kamishibai with me and I take it to the slums and
Yeah.
it is so wonderful to receive the response. Only difference between you and me is mine is not such a beautiful fluorescent one. It's not a sports cycle. It's a ladybird and a very old ladybird. You know, the earlier days we used to get the iron ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my one is that. It's so lovely to see yours. Yeah, one day maybe we bicycle together.
Yay, girl gang.
Thank you so much.
That's my cycle. And that's my daughter goes cycling around Centennial Park in Australia. She cycles to work. My friend Kiran is here, so she knows all about that. And that's the last one. That's how the Kamishibai man or a Kamishibai Baiyan, as they are called. I want to do this one day and get this box on the butai.
Very nice. Yes. Oh. Yes, I can see please a hand raised, and Manjari, I'll come to you too. Just 2 minutes, please.
Veena ji, big heart for you. Absolutely enjoyed the telling. And I used to often wonder the secret of your fitness, and today I know it. But yes, about the telling, I think the dialogues that you used and the sound effects that you used, from chirping of the bird to the shutter going up, all that really helped us visualize. We could visualize the story. And also the smoothness and the simplicity of the language, the simple words that you chose, they made it very relatable for all of us. So yes, absolutely amazing. And I could hear and imagine you clicking click the helmet.
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yes,
So,
Manju, to you.
Lovely telling, Veena. And I love the vivid descriptions, which, as you told earlier, Preet, that it got the story, we could imagine it, it got it to life. And yeah, I'm also a fitness enthusiast, so I totally resonated with your story. Great telling. Thank you.
Superb, superb. Okay, so we are gearing up to the end.
and we have Sheettal here. I don't know her, I cannot introduce her, but she's done a wonderful job here anchoring this program. And well done, Sheettal. Over to you, Sheettal.
Thank you so much.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes.
And remember to say a big thank you to Eric Miller. And you take it away from here now. Say 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much. So I thank Eric Miller, the foremost person who has taught me storytelling and who has given me so much of confidence to do different things. And he's always been ready with my ideas, He will always give a thought on it, though it works or it doesn't work is a secondary story, but he is always have ears to listen to my weird ideas. So thank you for making me the co-host for 2 years, Eric. And let's jump on to Sheettal, whose name means coolness and calmness. I truly believe in the power of stories, not just as a form of entertainment, but as a tool for healing, learning, and transformation. So my story today is called Once Upon a Time on eBay. And it's not just a story, but a story of a story. It's about how sometimes when we think we are buying is not what we actually receive, but just maybe it's exactly what we need. As they say, the best stories find you when you least expect them. So let's dive into this story. I want everybody to close your eyes and picture this. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon in New York City. So from all the folk tales of Indian folk tales, I have jumped to New York City now. So it's a very lazy Sunday afternoon in New York City. You all are walking through a flea market, dusty, cluttered, filled with old forgotten things. An old man sits behind a table stacked with random junk objects. Objects like a plastic banana. It was just faded and scratched. A rusty keychain, tarnished with time. A cheap Russian figurine. The paintings were chipped off. There was nothing special or valuable about these items. But what if I told you each of these objects was about to become priceless? In just a few weeks, they would sell for thousands of dollars. It sounds impossible, right? But that is what exactly happened at eBay, and this is the real story. So everybody can open your eyes and let's hear this unusual experiment which was carried out in eBay. So in 2009, two men, Rob Walker and Joshua Glenn, stood in a similar flea market looking at the same kind of worthless objects. They weren't there to buy antiques of collectibles. They were there to prove a point, a theory that could change the world we see and we value, right? So they did something really, really strange. They picked up 100 random objects from the market. A plastic banana for $1.29, a rusty keychain for $1.10, a tiny glass bottle for $1.25. So one by one they gathered things. No one would look at it even, once or wouldn't even buy. Then came the real experiment. So what was this experiment? Were they going to resell these items? No. They gave them to storytellers, bloggers, and writers. So maybe if somebody have got this kind of items, think about it. They gave only one instruction. Write an emotional story about this object. Make it special. Make people feel something. And you know what? The results were just unbelievable. The plastic banana that cost $1.29 was sold on eBay for $1.76. The rustic kitchen, which was bought for $1.10, was sold for $1.45. A cheap Russian figure, hardly worth $1, was sold for $193.50. So total money spent on this junk was $129, and the total money which eBay made out of this was $3,600. A 2,800 increased just because of storytelling. So think about it. Nothing changed about the objects. They were still the same plastic, the same metal, the same glass. But once a story was attached, they became priceless. And this is a real experiment which was carried out on eBay. When I first heard this story, it actually shook me, like anything like this is possible. But I would say that, I could compare myself with that plastic banana. I would tell you that after lockdown, when our lives went on social media, like people were asking me, pick one thing, why are you doing so many things? Stick to one niche, So it made me question myself, am I a storyteller? Am I a coach? Am I an educator? But eventually I realized that I don't need to choose because my value isn't in a single label. My value is in the stories which I create. With kids, I use storytelling to ignite imagination. With young adults, I use stories to build confidence. With corporates, I use it to inspire leadership and growth. So I'm not just a storyteller, I'm not just a trainer, I'm not just an educator. I am a story in motion. And so you all are. Yes? So let me ask you one thing. If a plastic banana can sell for $1.76 because of a story, what do you think your story is worth? Right? So create your own story, and the moment you start telling it in a right way, everything changes. And that's the real magic of storytelling. So have you ever bought something just because of a story behind it? If you had to sell a simple object with a powerful story, what it would be? How can businesses use storytelling to create deeper connections with customers? How can you use storytelling to define your personal brand or career? Right? So if you have any thoughts on this, I would like to listen from you all. You can always WhatsApp me. You all have my WhatsApp number. So that's all for today. And when you own your own story, that's when the world starts listening to you. I end here with that. So yes. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you so much.
What a beautiful ending, Sheetal. That was really, really wonderful. Something that would never have occurred to me. I think you're giving a lot of food for thought for all of us. I think the next time when I want to sell something, I'll sell it along with a beautiful story.
Yes, so true.
Stories do help. Stories are powerful. Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Yes. Yes, Veena, would you like to say something?
Right, good coach, a good trainer, a good coach. And you sell your story well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes. So, Eric, are we ready to move on? Yes, so what an incredible line of stories today. Each one left us with something to reflect on, right? Thank you all for our wonderful storytellers and stories, and to everyone who joined us today. May the power of storytelling continue to inspire and transform all of us. Thank you very much for coming here today.
Thank you, Sheettal, for the wonderful storytelling and the wonderful hosting.
Yes, thank you, Eric.